What's going on, everybody? It's the Cam back again with another film breakdown. This one is fresh off the books. Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Green Bay Packers in a really wild NFC Championship game. And, I think the storyline coming out of this is going to be how, Brady led the Bucs to another Super Bowl. And absolutely, he played very well. But in the second half, he had back-to-back interceptions. And the Bucs defense absolutely, they played outstanding. They were so clutch in this sequence of drives following those interceptions, and I think that really is the storyline coming out of this game, is how this Bucs defense stood up when they needed to and shut down Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I mean, we see this is after the second interception. After the first one, Bucs drove down the field. They turned that turnover into points. But coming off of this second interception, right, every bit of momentum is with the Green Bay Packers right now. And the Bucs defense, instead of kind of sitting back and almost, dropping into their zone stuff, trying to rally underneath, making plays, they really put the pressure on the Packers. And I think they really set the tone with this first down right here. They're going to end up bringing pressure with both of these corners, right? Bringing pressure off the edge. It's no secret Green Bay loves their play action, loves their run action, especially on first down. I think they view it as, high reward, low risk. What's the worst that happens? You throw in an incompletion and you live to fight another down. But obviously, first down's a heavy running down for a lot of teams. So the Bucs in this situation, they say, you know what? No, screw it. We're going to bring heat, which is exactly what they do. They basically man up everything else underneath that, get some great pressure on Rodgers, and end up forcing an incompletion. Could have been a lot worse. That could have ended up being a strip sack. So 2 plays later in that drive, we have a 3rd and 5, right? And with this 3rd and 5, all we see from Tampa is really just man, right? There really isn't anything special with that. And you can see Rodgers right now, the throw to make is to Lazard down here at the bottom, 13, right? They're going to run a little dig and then a drive concept really underneath it, that drag. He pushes far upfield trying to get those cornerbacks off. We get that free release, and 35's got to work all the way over the top, right? That's tough to do. Actually, they bring a safety down. But Rodgers can't get this ball off. Why can't he get this ball off? Because they twist underneath, right, with their front four. And this is outstanding stuff right here, because it's not complicated, it's not difficult, but at the end of the day, it's effective, right? So what they do, Jason Pierre-Paul works into this guard's left shoulder, and then they wheel Vita Vea around there, and then we get a great pass rush right here. 71 had a long day, whoever that cat is. I feel bad for him. This was a tough one, right? We're in our pass set. He ends up dipping underneath us. We miss with our hands. He turned us, creates that soft edge. Now Rodgers has to step up into the pocket, and he knows 13's open, right? He's got no chance to get this ball off, though. With Jason Pierre-Paul, we worked in here. Vita Vea comes on this side, and we got nowhere to go. He's got to take that sack. That forces a punt. Now Brady turns around. He does something very un-Brady-like. He throws another interception. So you know what? Defense, get back out there. We need a big stop. This play right here, this sack, this is on Rodgers in my opinion. And let me explain why, because I know what you're thinking. All right, this dude got off the ball super quick, right? Like, what are we going to do? You have to know that this dude is struggling, right? And that's what it was at the end of the day. Ways that you can help him. If you're going to go empty, you got to change up the snap count, which isn't what they do at all. There's nothing changed up about this whole thing, right? You got to change up the snap count, get this dude on his heels, force him to jump off sides like they did earlier in the game. They don't do that. They run their regular stuff. Also, you can see they don't have the time to mess with the snap count in this situation, but he gets off the ball. Rodgers has absolutely zero chance to get this play off, 2nd and 11, right? And you go through these plays, and this defense is stacking up good play after good play after good play. This is a this is a tough situation to be in for this defense, right? Then we get into the 2nd and 11, okay? Rodgers is going to try and take a shot on this because Tampa's in their 2-man, right? They got their 2 high safeties, one here, and then they're running man coverage underneath it. And in those situations, a lot of times Rodgers is going to take that shot, which I think is exactly what you know if you're the Bucs, and that's why you're manning up. It's something that you're definitely uncomfortable with, and Rodgers is going to complete this a lot of times. This time he doesn't. I look at this and I think this is great technique by the defensive back. He's running stride for stride with Valdez-Scantling on this. Rodgers can't drop that thing in the bucket. Really good play from him, from that defensive back. And then with this play right here, it's the same thing. And that's kind of the surprising thing to me, was that it wasn't like Tampa was really mixing up what they did. They were running cover 2, right? But instead of running zone underneath, they're running man. And that's all it was throughout the entirety of this. Look at this. We're bullying these two guys at the top of the screen. 19 underneath. They end up trading off. And this play, when I saw to begin with, I thought Rodgers should have hit 19, to be honest with you, St. Brown. And they don't end up trading off. He's trailing the entire way. That, to me, was the throw to make. You got to make it early, though, and he wasn't looking there. I understand that because, it's 3rd and long, right? You throw that ball underneath, there's a good chance he's going to get tackled. Anyway, not the ball that he throws, but once again, we're just manning up our coverage underneath this. Great play by the Tampa Bay Bucks right here by whoever this cat is, not sure entirely. So it's Sean Murphy bunting. Phenomenal job. And then Green Bay gets this ball back. They drive down the field, 31-23. 8 points ties this ball game up. What do? Right? This is the goal. There's a goal line stand that you need to put your team in the Super Bowl, and they do a phenomenal job in this situation. This first play right here, I have some gripes with. I really do, because a lot of times when you go RPO, you don't want your quarterback facing this side and then having to turn and throw the other way. I personally don't like that. Your back should be on this side. He's working right here, because when you have to do stuff like this, he's got to make this throw quick, man. And he throws this ball behind him. The way I think about it is that if he's facing the other way and he can stare this thing down, as this ball's going and as he's working through this mesh point, he puts this ball on the money, and this is a touchdown. Catches it here, work your way into the end zone, but instead he throws it behind him. I kind of put that on the play design, to be honest. Yes, Rodgers is phenomenal. He's top 3 quarterback in the NFL right now, 100%. But at the end of the day, I look at that and I think you could help your guy out a little bit. So anyway, we'll work on to 2nd down. And in this situation, right, the Bucs pretty much just man up with what they're doing. I mean, honestly, like, they're playing off coverage at the bottom here. And, a thing that I would say about the Packers is early in the game, they tried to throw back shoulder to Davante Adams. It ended up being an incomplete pass. It was more a drop than anything on Davante Adams' part. The ball was on the money from 12, but the Bucs didn't change. They stayed in that. Look at how much coverage you're leaving. Look at how much space you're leaving here, right? You're begging to get back shouldered right now. Stem him upfield, throw that thing on the back shoulder of this defense. So he's not going to come up and play this. He's going to keep dropping until he gets to the goal line, then he's going to try and press. That's not at all what happens in this situation, right? Basically what the Bucs are doing is that as these receivers are working in, they're giving that off coverage, and then they're coming down to work on that, right? Make that tackle. Besides that, they're pretty much manned up across the board, right? We're manned up with Davante Adams. These two are basically comboing this, right? So as he works down here, he's going to stay because we see this in route coming from our number 1 at the top. So this safety is going to take number 3 right there, right? We see him working. We have Davante Adams on a post on the out of number 2. That's where he tries to go with this thing. But once again, he's getting flushed out of the pocket. I mean, and this is the thing. This pass rush from Tampa Bay was the winner for me in this situation. Just a phenomenal job from Tampa. To be honest, maybe Rodgers could have stuck in the pocket for a little bit. I don't blame him, though. He'd be getting heat all day. And then this 3rd down and goal, this is something that I think he might get chastised for. I don't know. I don't know. I understand with what he's looking at right now. As he breaks the pocket, right, whatever he's looking for right away isn't there. Okay, he might be able to hammer this, right? Maybe if you're, taking out the small details of it, yeah, he could hammer this number 1 right here. But he steps up into the pocket. He sees he's got Davante Adams on the goal line. He decides to rip it. I can't, in all honesty, blame his decision making right here. Yes, he could probably just take off, but we got to remember we got Devin White sitting right here. He's going to break through that and try and make that play. Jason Pierre-Paul's an absolute freak of an athlete, right? It's not like these guys are slow on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So as much as we're going to look at this 8-yard run and say, oh, he should have just kept it and ran to the end zone here, this dude's really fast. I believe that's Devin White. He's probably going to break off and make that play. This dude's going to come over the top. It's going to be tough to do, and I don't look at this and say that's a sure touchdown by any stretch of the imagination. So anyway, guys, that's kind of my opinions on this Buccaneers-Packers game. Decent game from Brady. I think that he made very uncharacteristic mistakes in the second half that probably aren't going to get talked about. But in the first half, the dude was cash. I mean, his opening drive in the first quarter was some of the best Brady I've seen. I mean, he's dropping balls in the bucket. He looks like an absolute stud. He had a couple bad picks, but again, I think that when you take a closer look at those, some of them are drops, some of them are on the receiver. He had one to Mike Evans that I think was too tall, but Evans had hands on it. At the end of the day, you know what? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a good football team, and teams win football games. Like I said, it's not just one player. It's not just Tom Brady. It's not just Mike Evans. It's not just Leonard. It's just one person wins a football game. It's a team sport for a reason. You need your entire team to play well. Offense played well in the first half for the Bucs. Defense didn't play as well, and it resulted in the score that they had going into the second half. In the second half, Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense didn't play super well, but their defense stepped up when they needed to. That's what it takes to win football games, especially in the NFL, especially in the playoffs, and especially when you're traveling into Lambeau Field to take on one of the greats. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I'll be back in the week with some more content. Got some really cool ideas cooking. Not all of them focused on just playoff teams, so I'm hoping that we can get some of those videos out there and it will be enjoyable to watch for everybody. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you later in the week. Until then, stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you next time.